I have a couple of them. The Sambal Masjid in UP, where we saw violent protests.
Atala Jaunpur.
Then there's Gyanvapi Masjid in UP. There's Ajmer Sharif Dargah in Rajasthan. The
Right.
Shahi Eidgah.
Right.
Shamsi Jama Masjid. Tiliwali Masjid in UP. These are 3 in UP. Delhi's Quwwatul Islam Masjid. And then Kamal Maula Masjid in MP. Now these are some of the major mosques where Hindu community says that it was built over destroyed temples.
Madhya Pradesh has several such sites, including sites dedicated to Devi Saraswati.
So sites bole to temples which have
Turned,
been turned.
yes.
So there are pillars or something where,
Clear inscriptions. I think there's a place called Dhar.
yeah.
There are several such places.
So now these are the ones which are in court. Some of these are in court. Dhar
Right.
maybe not in court.
It's not in court yet.
Yeah. So now the ones that I have listed out, these are in court.
Right.
What happens to these cases now? They just
As of now, until
Tariq pe tariq pe tariq.
it's in principle, it's adjourned sine die. Because no effective orders can be passed.
So now unless in the Supreme Court somebody challenges it,
Correct.
the lower courts cannot pick it up.
Until I think a resolution of the Places of Worship Act challenge is decided one way or another, the stay seems like it might continue.
Okay. Will the two communities in the entire country, will they now sit silent after the Supreme Court verdict, or do you think that the Hindu community has been too charged now to let sleeping dogs lie? Maybe wrong metaphor I'm using.
I don't know what they will do. I can perhaps come
Because there is no one organization picking it up. It's not as if the VHP, like they did with Babri Masjid, and so it's not one organization anywhere.
I'm happy with that.
You're happy with that?
Yes.
You
See, the thing is, there are two sides to it. One, and somebody decides to be, let's say, a loose cannon. On that front, I have a problem with that person if they don't go properly prepared. It's a serious issue.
because it sets a precedent.
Sets a precedent. Your dismissal or acceptance sets a precedent for the rest of us. So if you want to get into this battle, you want to join the fray, please come better prepared. Anybody jumps into this because they also want to be heard, then the rest of us will pay the price. Now, a centralized command structure also would mean that if a decision is taken that isse zyada hum challenge nahi karenge, that curtails the rights of the community, and nobody can speak on behalf of everyone. Because you see, some of these temples could be kul devtas and kul devis of a particular community. Aap hote kaun hai unka muh band karne wale? They have their specific rights under Articles 25 and 26 to say, this is our kul devta mandir. It is more important to us than certain other big temples. Can you stop us? Why? Because I have a rina, or a duty, or an obligation to this particular temple. And that's how this entire concept goes on. We have actually an umbilical cord, a hereditary relationship with this temple. And if that temple stands occupied, what are we supposed to do? How can you ask them to say, नहीं आप चुप बैठ जाओ, ये 3 मिल गए ना, आप चुप बैठ जाओ? ये नहीं हो सकता है. If you recognize Hindu diversity, then you have to recognize the diversity of temples and voices. Otherwise, it's just let's say, an ornamental phrase that you use in the interest of showing plurality within the Hindu community.
But there is a feeling that, this happened in the past. The desecration happened in the past. So shouldn't there be a time period that, okay, from 1800 onwards, from 1900 onwards?
Yes, we have the time period.
So
712 AD. Time period chahiye. Is this the first time I'm making this statement? No. Open my book. First book.
Yeah.
What would be the cutoff date to test what is decoloniality for Bharat? I specifically said it's not from the point when the Christian colonizer entered this country. I said it starts from the invasion of Sindh. I specifically said this. I knew this argument would come about, and therefore I gave the cutoff date in the book very clearly. It's not an afterthought. That we have suffered 2 different waves and 2 different, let's say, shades of colonization. And therefore, we have to apply different yardsticks and standards. If South America has determined for itself what shall be the cutoff date, that is from the entry of the conquistadors in Latin America, we have a different yardstick for Bharat. So that recognition already stands. You want a cutoff date, we'll give you a cutoff date. See, somebody contributes money, builds a particular structure, good, no problem. You broke something and you built something, then the communities have an existing right. Because Ram Janmabhoomi says, एक बार प्राण प्रतिष्ठा हो गया, एनर्जी वहां पे स्थापित हो चुका, उसका आवाहन हो चुका है, उसका कुछ नहीं किया जा सकता है until it has been deconsecrated. Desecration is not the same as deconsecration.
Explain.
desecration is to khandify the murti.
Yeah.
Deconsecration is visarjan.
Oh, that so many temples have happened.
Exactly. Therefore, we are saying जब तक deconsecration नहीं हुआ है and पद्धति के हिसाब से वहाँ पे energy
Is there a word for deconsecration?
that
or
is
have you just
visarjan.
created?
No, I am saying desecration is to break and
Vandalize
defile.
it, break.
Deconsecration is to undo the process.
Huh.
So when you do prana pratishtha, you are inviting the energy to reside at that place. You can also ask it to go back. And this happens in every puja. In every yagna, in every homa, the purpose of, let's say, the purohit, there are 4 corners of the yagnapit. And there are different names for it. Basically, what they do, the first process is sankalp karke avahan karna.
Huh.
But after the puja, thank you.
Yes.
That is the same thing that can happen with an image or a deity or let's say an idol, an icon, so to speak, a murti.
Huh.
That has not happened. That is the basis for reclamation of Ram Janmabhoomi, saying even after the construction of the disputed structure, Prana Pratishtha remains valid.
But then pujas never used to happen, no, after...
That doesn't matter. Puja ho ya na ho, ek baar Prana Pratishtha ho gaya, it continues. This is once a deity's place, always a deity's place until it has been sent back through Paddhati. It has not happened. So पहले वहाँ पे मंदिर था, प्राण प्रतिष्ठा वहाँ पे किया गया था, वहाँ पे मूर्ति की स्थापना हुई थी. That's the end of the matter. This is specifically the position recognized in Ram Janmabhoomi. Why does the logic of that position change with respect to the other places?
Because it was considered a one-off thing.
Exactly. Therefore, it is the number is the problem here. I'm saying number should be a problem. If Ganga Jamni Tehzeeb kicks in according to if it exists, exchange kar lo.
Nahi hoga na. How many will
So
you
that
do?
means that Tehzeeb doesn't exist. It's a myth. If it's a myth, okay.
No, Ganga Jamna Tehzeeb is coexistence.
Right.
It doesn't mean you give yours and I give mine.
So
and
truth, honesty and reclamation have no place in this concept.
I guess not.
So it's almost as good as the Pakistani position saying Kargil में जितना जगह हमने ले लिया वो हमारा हो गया. And coexistence उसके बाद चलता रहेगा. And they will move and the next wave will take more place. यही चलता रहेगा.
But ये हुआ ना, Aksai Chin went away,
That's because
POK went away.
So therefore, that is because the so-called Indian state has chosen never to respond. We are being told this is a new Bharat. If it's a new Bharat, will it not revisit these concepts? Okay, simpler question. ठीक है भाई, in the context of 1992, you said, ये हुआ, वो हुआ, ठीक है. अब तो legally हो रहा है. ASI के द्वारा survey हो रहा है. Even that you have a problem with. A perfectly constitutional method through a court of law, through a court-appointed commissioner with experts and through a specific provision that envisages, enables and permits this kind of a survey, that too is unconstitutional.
Do subscribe to the ANI Clips channel to get shorter versions of this podcast. Click here to watch the full episode.